Our last scene tonight is from Anton Chekhov's one-act farce, The Festivities. The research material on Chekhov is far too immense for me to even begin to cover it adequately here, so I won't even try. Besides, I have an important confession to make before we can talk about this last scene. Up to this point in my lecture, hardly a single word has been my own. I've quoted freely from such critics as Martin Esslin, Christopher Innes, plus I've had live input from PhD candidate at Exeter University in England, Tom Nicholas, and from Professor Jessica Milner-Davis of the University of Sydney, and from Sir Aubrey Miller, OAM Senior Fellow, Office of the President, LaSalle College in Singapore. All these sources have been immensely helpful in clarifying my own thoughts and feelings about naturalism. Although I'm not yet through with quoting these sources, I would now ask for a point of privilege and talk in my own voice about my experience in performing these scenes. I was brought up and trained to think of naturalism as the only really correct way to act on stage. Become the character mentally and physically. Naturalism is the performance style that allows realism its aim, to present whatever it is you're presenting as realistically as possible. Aubrey writes me, "All this is very important, Peter, but as I remind students, naturalism is only another style. Though it happens to have dominated over 100 years of theater, it's just another ism, and hopefully we are almost over it." But what, after all, is naturalism to the actor? What I did to prepare to perform Ibsen is quite different than what I did to prepare to perform Shaw. What I will be doing for you in Chekhov's farce will be quite different again. Naturalism is out of style now with philosophers, and I feel the advent of more and more electronic methods of entertainment will force naturalism to become out of style for the legitimate stage actor as well. That probably will be because the legitimate stage will go the way of grand opera and entertainment for the classes, but not the masses. And I think that's very bad, and I hope I'm wrong. But does naturalism even exist? What is real anyway? Is it not like Einstein's definition of time as an illusion? Is not reality an illusion as well? And if that's true, how important is it? Everything that happens on stage is pretend. So how important is the reality of the pretense? We are entering a post-dramatic age, where performances can be site-specific, controlled events, where the audience is part of the show whether they want to be or not. What does that do to the actor-audience dynamic? But Aubrey writes me, don't forget that Strindberg's stage directions in Miss Julie, in addition to his 1888 preface, are the real revolution, when he states that Kristen, quote, may even turn her back on the audience, etc. He breaks the thousands of years of traditions, and in a way condemns theater to self-indulgence for another 100 years. Asia still ignores his advice, and musicals never took it. But it's a crucial point in the development of naturalism. Instead of being a participant, audiences were locked out, no longer addressed in speeches or asides, and allowed only to be voyeurs. And yet, farce is the oldest public ceremony known to man. Older than organized religion, older than comedy, older than tragedy. And yet we will now be performing a scene by Chekhov, the great naturalist, that is nothing more nor less than pure farce. Can farce embrace naturalism, and vice versa? Surely our one-set-fits-all scenes can fairly well represent realistically the lobby of a branch bank in some Russian city. Surely Danilo Ottavani and I can be said to pass for a young Russian branch bank manager and his old bookkeeper who cooks the books for him. But what we two will be doing in this space will be totally different from any of the kinds of performances you've seen so far. Does that mean we will not be acting naturalistically? And if we're not acting naturalistically, does that mean we are bad actors? It would seem I have more questions than I have answers for you. And that having reached this impasse, it would be best to leave it up to you to decide whether Chekhov's farce is naturalistically real or really naturalistic, or neither, or even both. Enough already. Now Danilo Ottavani and Peter Kingsley in The Festivities. Somebody go down to the drugstore and give me a bottle of aspirin, large size? And when you bring up a glass of water, how many times do I have to tell you? I am one large ache from head to toe. I've been writing non-stop for 3 days without a wink of sleep. I sit here writing from morning till evening, and then I go home and write from evening on. And I'm burning up. I've got fever, aches, my legs, and my eyes. There's something wrong with my eyes. I must have conjunctions. 42. Our stuck-up manager, that useless son of a bitch, is giving a talk at the festivities today. A talk about our bank, past, present, and future. Just to show off. 13, 42, 15. He wants everybody to think he's such a big shot, but I'm the one who does all the work. Yeah. He writes off some highfalutin nonsense, but I'm the one who sits here and corrects his figures. Go damn him to hell anyway. 13, carry 1, 15. I've had about all I can take. 52, 15, 16. You promised me a reward if the speech goes off and he manages to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. You promised I would get a gold watch and 300 extras. Well, we'll see. And if I'm doing all this work for nothing, brother, watch out. I'm a mean man. You get me round enough and I won't stop at murder. I mean it!
My dear colleagues, believe me, I will treasure till the day I die this memento of our happy days together. Till the day I die, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you all once again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kuzma Nikolaevich, my dear, dear colleague.
Congratulations, Andrei Andreevich, on 15 years of the bank's success.
Thank you so much. Well, a joyful day. What the hell, give me a hug. Huh? There, this will be our part of the festivities. Oh, delighted. Absolutely delighted. I don't know how to thank you for all your devoted service. If I, as manager of this bank, have been able to accomplish anything useful, it's only because I can always rely on the devotion of my colleagues. Yes, indeed. 15 years. 15 years, and my name isn't Poaching. Now, how's my speech coming along? Almost ready?
Oh, almost. I have about 5 pages to go.
Perfect, so I can have it by 3 this afternoon?
If I'm not interrupted, there are only a few details left.
Marvelous, marvelous. The festivities begin at 4 o'clock. Look, let me have the first half now, will you? That way I can rehearse a little. Let me see. I attach great importance to the speech. Enormous importance. This will be a sweeping statement of my professional credo, and I intend to dazzle them. Dazzle them, or my name isn't Poaching. I'm tired. I had a migraine last night. I couldn't sleep. And I had to go around to all these meetings and then back here and all this excitement and the cheering. I'm all wound up. Tired.
My mind's a blur of numbers. 15, 32, 15, 72.
Oh, by the way, there's one little thing. Your wife came by this morning. She says she wants to lodge a complaint against you again. Says last night you tried to attack her and her sister with a knife. Now, really, Kuzma Nikolaevich, what kind of behavior is that? Naughty, naughty.
Andrei Andreevich, will you please respect the work I'm trying to do here and keep your nose out of my private affairs, please?
Really, Kuzma Nikolaevich, you are impossible. Look at yourself. Well brought up. Respectable. But when it comes to women, you act like Jack the Ripper. Really, I don't understand why you dislike them so much.
And I
I don't understand why you like them so much.
The employees just gave me this beautiful certificate. And the directors, so I'm told, intend to present me with a desk calendar and some kind of trophy. Good, I say. Good, or my name isn't Poaching. These aren't just petty trifles, you know. A bank's reputation requires a little pomp and circumstance. And of course, now you're like one of the family here, so I don't mind you knowing. Of course, I made up the certificate myself, and the silver trophy, I ordered that myself too. And the golden frame for the certificate, that cost us 25 rubles, but we couldn't do without it. Otherwise, they'd accuse us of being cheap. Look at this office. All this fine furniture. People call me petty. You know, because I want the front doorknobs polished. Because I want all of our tellers in brand new ties and a uniformed doorman at the entrance. Not true. No, sir. These aren't just petty concerns. If a man wants to live like a pig at home, why not? Lie around drunk all weekend? Why not? He can.
Please. Don't give these comparisons.
Well, I'm not comparing anything. Really, you are impossible. As I was saying, if you want to lie around at home acting lower class, doing whatever you feel like, that's your privilege. But this is a bank. Things here have to be larger than life. Every little detail must convey an overwhelming impression. We want our clients to be overawed. That is my great value to this bank. I augment its reputation. I improve the tone of the place enormously. Enormously, or my name isn't Poaching. Now look, my good friend. A delegation of the bank's directors will be arriving any moment now, and here you sit, in your old bedroom slippers, and that awful scarf, and that ratty old jacket. But what color do you call that? Couldn't you wear a tailcoat, or at least a dress coat of some kind?
I am more interested in my health than your bank managers.
You make such a sloppy impression. You're simply destroying the ambience that I've tried to create here.
Look, when the time comes, I'll disappear. What's the problem? 13, 42, 56. I hate sloppy impressions, too. No one likes them, dislikes them more than I do. And I hope you're not going to invite all your women friends to the festivities today.
Why not? Oh, don't be ridiculous.
I know you. You'll have the place swarming with them just for your sake of ambience. But look, they must spoil the whole event. With women, you always have a problem. Now, talk about a sloppy impression.
Well, I beg to differ. The presence of women has an elevating effect on any social gathering.
Ah, sure. Take, for instance, your wife. Last Monday, she opened her mouth and stuck her foot right in it. It took me 3 weeks to clear up on all. She said right in front of one of the clients, "Is it true that my husband has invested money from the bank in the Drasco shares and they went bankrupt? My husband is so worried about it," right in front of the clients. I don't know why you have to discuss bank business with her. One of these days, her thoughts are they're going to get you into prison.
All right. That's enough. You're depressing me. I'm trying to keep my mind on the festivities. Oh, but that reminds me, my wife should be here shortly. I guess I should have gone to the station to meet her. Poor darling. Well, I had no time, and I was so tired. Well, actually, I guess I'm not all that glad to see her. I mean, I'm glad, but I wish she could have spent another couple of days at her mother's. Now she wants me to spend the entire evening listening to her talking about her mother. And the fact is, some of the directors had proposed a little bachelor outing this evening. Oh, look. I'm making myself nervous again. When I'm all worked up like this, the least little thing makes me want to burst into tears. But I can't. Not today. Today I must be joyful. Joyful, or my name isn't Poaching. God, speak of the devil.
See.
See.